expect some surprises. Expect some delays. Expect to make mistakes, and for heaven's sakes, forgive yourself for the mistakes that you make, and then move on. I have a very good friend in Seattle who is also a postdoc, and he comes from Zimbabwe. He told me that on his first interviews, after the first round, he was invited to the interviewer's house to a meal. And so he gets to the meal, and he was working very hard at understanding some of the American terminology and phrases. Well, he confused the word yummy with the word yucky. And so this woman kept providing the meal that she had made, thinking she was doing something wonderful for this candidate. And he kept saying, "This is really yucky." And finally he saw the puzzled look, and he actually said, "Have I said something wrong?" And they were kind enough to tell him. Now, that's a good example of the difference between manners and etiquette, because his etiquette was pretty awful when you think about it on the face value, but his manners were wonderful. He was doing his best to become part of that scenario. I have a worse situation to share with you that also makes the same point. I was 24. I'd been in the Middle East for 36 hours. And I went to, I know, Marianne, I am going to tell this story. I went to a reception for the Prime Minister and his wife. And I remembered before I left for the Middle East, my grandmother, who is from Hungary, said, "Mary, learn the language. If Americans couldn't speak English, they'd have to bark like dogs. Learn the language." So I really tried to study Arabic. I tried to learn it. It's not, as you know, an easy language. And I go to this reception, and there is Madame, it was Prime Minister Fahmy at the time. So I meet Madame Fahmy, and I'm thinking about my grandmother, and I give her my biggest smile. I extend my hand. I look her straight in the eye, and I say proudly, basically, I said, "Have a good penis." What I thought I said was sort of, "Have a good day." And there was this shock. And there was this silence. Now, you're all scientists. That's when I understood Einstein's theory of the relativity of time. That was the moment. But the point was that, eventually they got it, that, they knew I was trying. I was trying to meet them where they were. And generally, it's not always true, but generally, when we make mistakes, when we're willing to have a sense of humor about our mistakes and realize that, everybody is human, things go a lot more smoothly. So there's a lot to be said for forgiving ourselves for messing up, or when we think we've messed up. And I'll tell you a PS to that story. I was sure that I'd probably get deported. Instead of getting deported, I got invited to every single party that counted. Because nobody could wait to hear what the Americanía would say next. It was great. If you are the kind of person for whom dealing with a lot of people drains your energy, make sure that part of your preparation is to not go to a party the night before, because you won't have the energy, you won't have the mental energy or the physical energy to really focus on why you're there in the first place. You know, people, it's interesting, people seem to fall into two different categories. Like some people are like rechargeable batteries. You know, we sort of run like the Energizer Bunny, and then we're out of gas, and you have to get recharged. But other people are sort of like solar panels. And the more people they're with, the more energy they get, and they're just ready to rock and roll. And it's worth your time, it's worth a little reflection to determine, well, which side do I fall in? Because depending on how you respond and where your energy is, that gives you some clues about how to prepare for an actual interview, because you really want to be on your game.